In this video, we will learn how to divide a polynomial with the linear polynomials, like linear polynomials of the type, say, ax plus b. For example, if I have to divide a polynomial by x plus 5, over here the value of a is 1 and value of b is 5. I have to divide a polynomial with, say, x minus 7. The value of a is 1 and value b is minus 7. If I have to divide a polynomial with, say, 2x plus 3, over here the value of a is 2 and the value of b is 3. So we'll be learning how to divide a polynomial with the divisors like this, divisors of the type ax plus b. First, I'll be dealing with examples of this type in which the coefficient of x is 1. Then I'll be dealing with the examples where the coefficient of x is not 1 but certain other number. Say, for example, over here it is 2 or anything else. Let's go for the first situation. Suppose we want to divide x cube minus 8x square minus 23x plus 210. So divide this by, say, x plus 5. Of course, one method is the long division method. In this, we'll be going through a very quick method. Within seconds, we'll be in a position to divide this polynomial with a polynomial like this. So if I go for, say, step by step, step 1. First of all, I'll be putting whatever this linear expression is with which I have to divide. Say, I will write x plus 5 is equal to 0. From here, I will get a number, and which is minus 5 in this case. The purpose of this step is just to get a number. What is the objective of this number? It will be clear just after a few seconds, right? I'm not saying x plus 5 is equal to 0. I just did this step just to get a number which is minus 5. Alright, step 2. Now the next step is we're going to write down the coefficients of the dividend over here. Like this is the dividend, we have to divide this. This is the divisor. So coefficients of dividend. If you see the powers of the dividend are in descending power 3, 2, 1 and the constant term. There is no power of x is missing, and it's this thing. And the coefficients of the powers of x are 1, minus 8, minus 23, 210. So let's put these coefficients over here. So x cubes coefficient 1, minus 8, x squares coefficient, then x coefficient is minus 23, then the constant term is 210. So I made these two lines and written down the coefficients of the dividend over here, and over here I'll be writing down the number which I obtained from here, right? And this is minus 5. This is the purpose of purpose of this step is this much only. What number I'm going to write over here in order to get that. So what is the next step? Next step is, now for division, to do the division quickly, I'll note this, whatever number over here is, note this down here as it is. It is 1, so it is written 1 over here. Now the steps proceed. Multiply these two numbers, minus 5 and 1. Whatever answer turns out to be, right over here. Multiply these two. Whatever answer comes, right here. And then add these two and get a new number. Then multiply these two. Write the answer here, add these two numbers, get a new number. Multiply these two, get an answer, write it over here, add these two numbers to get a number over here. So let's do this process. Minus 5 into 1, I get minus 5, write it over here. Add these two. When we add these two, we get minus 13. So now multiply these two numbers. Whatever answer turns out to be, write it over here. So minus 30 into minus 5, this is 65. 65 written over here. Now add these two numbers. When we added these two numbers, we get, say, this is 42. Now multiply these two numbers, whatever answer turns out to be right over here. So 42 into 5, 210. With the negative number, this is minus 210. Add these two numbers, we get 0. Now what do these numbers signify? In fact, these are the coefficients of the quotient, and this is the remainder. If I say over here, dividend was provided with us, dividend was x cube minus 8x square minus 23x plus 210. Divisor as x plus 5. Now the quotient, we are going to write down the quotient from here, quotient and the remainder. Quotient and remainder. Quotient over here is, see, the dividend highest power, the degree of the dividend was 3, and once we got the coefficient, this will be starting with 1 lesser than this power. So this is 3, then this will be the coefficient of x square. This was x cube, so this will be the coefficient of x square. We'll be starting with that. Then we turn step by step reducing the power. This is for coefficient of x square. Then after x square, it will be the coefficient of x. Then after x, it will be the constant term. So let's write it down. So 1 into x square, simply x square minus 13 into x plus 42. So this is the quotient, and this is the remainder. The remainder over here is 0. Remainder is 0. So if I repeat the steps, we write down the coefficients of the dividend over here, and we write a number. How do we get that number? We write the divisor equal to 0, from get a number, whatever that number turns out to be, write it over here. Then these two numbers multiplied, answer is here, added these, then these two are multiplied, answer is written over here, then they are added, these two are multiplied, answer, the multiplication answer is written here, then these two are added. In this case, we are getting remainder as 0. What does it mean? It means the divisor over here, x plus 5, is in fact a factor of this polynomial. So if the remainder does not turn out to be 0, it won't be a factor of this polynomial. So if the remainder is turning out to be 0 and this is a factor, so this could be a very easier method to factorize the given polynomial, knowing it's one of the factors. We divide by the factor by this method and we get the second factor. Suppose if I factorize it, how would I factorize it? So say x cube minus 8x square minus 23x plus 210 is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder, the division algorithm. Divisor is x plus 5 into quotient is this, or can be written from here, x square minus 13x plus 42 plus remainder in this case is 0, so we are not writing that one down. So you can see that this polynomial has been factorized. One of the factors is x plus 5 and another quadratic factor is x square minus 13x plus 42. As far as quadratic factor is concerned, you can very easily, there are multiple methods to factorize it further. If the requirement is there, we can go for splitting the middle term, we can go for completing the squares, we can go for the usage of quadratic formula. Either of the options can be tried. So let's do one more example. So say, let us divide 2x power 4 minus 3x cube plus 5x plus 6 by x minus 2. So let's see this example in which we are going to divide this polynomial by x minus 2, a linear factor of the type ax plus b. What are the steps? The steps, now I'm skipping one of the things. So we'll be writing down the number here straight away and the coefficients over here straight away. So for that, what we do, we draw two lines like this. All right, over here we'll be writing down the coefficients of the dividend. This is the dividend, the coefficients. Highest power is 4. So first of all, we'll be writing the coefficient of x power 4, that is 2. Then we'll be writing down the coefficient of x cube, that is minus 3. Then we'll be writing down the coefficient of x square. There's no term x square over here. So if the term is missing, the coefficient of that is 0. Means the coefficient of x square is 0. So we write it over here. Important step. We started with power x power. We started with x raised to power 4. This is the coefficient of x power 4, coefficient of x cube, coefficient of x square. Then coefficient of x will be writing over here, and the constant term. There was no x square term. The coefficient of x here is going to be 0. So now the term of coefficient of x, which is 5, and the constant term, which is 6. We write 6 over here. And over here now, we'll be writing down the number, which we get from here. If we think in mind, or we can write it on the, suppose over here, say x minus 2 is equal to 0. So we get a number for x, that is 2. Whatever that number turns out to be right over here. So we write 2 here. So what we did x minus 2, 0, we get a number. This step is just to get a number, nothing else. Very elementary step, can be written straight away. You can, of course, we can definitely skip this one. From here, the number turns out to be 2. Now the process starts. Whatever number here is, write down it as this. Say 2. Multiply these two numbers. The answer is 4. Write it over here. Add them. Addition gives me value as 1. Multiply these two. 2 into 1, this is 2. Written here. Add them. This is 2. Then 2 into 2, 4. Right over here. Then add them. This 2 into 9, that is 18. Add them. This is 24. So once this process done, so this last number is the remainder, and this will give me the coefficients of the quotient. Right? So what is going to be the quotient and what is going to be the remainder? Quotient is say, because the highest power was 4, so this will be the coefficient of one lesser power, means x cube. This will be the coefficient of x cube, this will be the coefficient of x square, then x, then constant term, and the remainder. So let's start. This is from here 2x cube plus x square plus 2x plus 9, and this is the remainder. The remainder is 24. If I have to write this in the division algorithm form, dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. So let me write down it over here. 2x raised to power 4 minus 3x cube plus 5x plus 6 is equal to dividend is equal to divisor. Divisor was x minus 2 into quotient which we get from here, or we can straight away write from here, that is 2x cube plus x square plus 2x plus 9 plus remainder is 24. So we divided the polynomial with this linear polynomial in this fashion. Let's do one more example. Say if we divide divide 5x raised to power 4 plus 3x square minus 6x plus 1 by x minus 2, say. So let's do the steps now quickly, a little bit faster. So over here we write the coefficients of this. So the highest power is 4. So coefficient of x power 4 is 5. Coefficient of x cube should be here. The term is missing. So for that the coefficient is going to be 0. Then turn of coefficient of x square, which is 3. Coefficient of x, which is minus 6. Then after that the constant term, which is 1. Then we write another number from here, which we'll get from this. If we think this to be x minus 2 is equal to 0, we get x as 2. So whatever that number turns out to be, write it over here. Now, write this number as it is. 5 written as it is. Multiplication, answer is written here. 10. Sum is 10. 20. Sum is 23. Multiplication, product is 46. Sum is 40. Product is 80. Sum is 81. This is the remainder. This is the quotient. Now we straight away write down the respective division algorithm. Say 5x raised to 4 plus 3x square minus 6x plus 1. Dividend is equal to divisor. Divisor is x minus 2 into quotient. Highest power was 4. So over here this will be the coefficient of x cube. So we start from here. 5x cube plus next is the term of x square. This is 10x square. Then plus 23x, then plus 40 is the number written over here, that is the remainder, that is 81. We divided this polynomial with a linear divisor of the type in which the coefficient of x is 1. So now I'll be discussing one example in which the coefficient of the divisor, coefficient of x in the divisor is not 1. Okay. So let's see. This is my favorite cardboard. My companion of so many years. Alright, never mind. Let's start with an example. So if we wish to divide 6x raised to 4 plus 11x cube plus 13x square minus 3x plus 27 by say 3x plus 4. We wish to divide this polynomial with this. So the usual steps, let's write on the usual steps, then we'll see what additional step we have to do in such cases. So first of all, we'll be writing down the coefficients over here, starting from coefficient of x power 4, that is 6, then x cube, that is 11, then x square, that is 13, coefficient of x is minus 3, then constant term, that is 27. Then we write a number over here. If we put 3x plus 4 is equal to 0, we will get a number for x that is minus 4 by 3. Whatever that number turns out to be, right over here, minus 4 by 3. Is it fine? I think it is clear now. What I did, I thought of 3x plus 4 is equal to 0. Then I got a number for x that is minus 4 by 3. Whatever that number turns out to be, I have written over here. Now let's start the process for the quicker method for the division. Write the number 6 as it is. First, now the steps are going to be routine. So multiply these two. If we multiply these two, the product of this turns out to be minus 8. The sum, added these two quantities, sum is 3. Multiply these two quantities, product is minus 4. Right over here, add these two quantities, sum is 9. Now multiply these two quantities, minus 4 by 3 into 3, that product turns out to be minus 12. Minus 12, add these two quantities, sum is minus 15. Multiply these two quantities, sum is product is 20. Then add these two quantities, sum is 47. Excuse me. So this last number is reserved for the remainder. This will give me the coefficients of the quotient. So now we can write it like this: 6x power 4 plus 11x cubed plus 13x square minus 3x plus 27. Dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Now we need to write that. So far, what are the changes? So far there I have not said any changes. The same process, but the changes I'm going to mention over here. First I'll fill this and this. Then whatever changes are to be done, that is for this step, right? So what the divisor was 3x plus 4. 3x plus 4, write it over here, and the remainder, whatever this number is, that is the remainder in this case also. So this is the divisor, and whatever number over here, this is the remainder in this case also. Only changes will be for the quotient part. And how do we incorporate that? These are not the coefficients of the quotient now, but we will be getting the coefficients of the quotient with the help of this, and the number which is coefficient of x over here. So what do we do is, whatever the coefficient of x is, like in this case that is 3, divide each of these numbers by that. We get new set of numbers. Whatever those new set of numbers are there, those will be the coefficients for the quotient. For example, if I do this process, the coefficient of x over here is 3. I divide each of this with 3. So from here, from 6, what do we get? From 6 we get 2. From 3 we get 1. From 9, when we divide by this 3, we get 3. And from 15, when I divide by 3, I get minus 5. So now we start writing down the coefficient. So what I did, so far the usual process, but for the quotient, we divided these numbers with the coefficient of x, which is 3 in this case. So let's write down the quotient now. So highest power is x power, highest power was 4. So this will be the coefficient of x cube. So 2x cube plus x square plus 3x minus 5. This is the answer for this question. Simple enough. Just to revise it, let's do this example. Divide 2x cube plus 4x square plus 7x plus 4 by 3x plus 2. Those usual steps. First of all, the respective coefficients of the dividend. So x cube, starting from x cube, coefficient of x cube, then turn of coefficient of x square, which is 4, then the turn of coefficient of x, which is 7 over here, then coefficient, the constant term, that is 4 over here. Then we write a number. We get from here 3x plus 2 equals 0. I get a number for x, that is minus 2 by 3. We write over here minus 2 by 3. So next step, we take this 2, whatever number is here as it is, we write it over here as it is, then we multiply these two. If we multiply, the product is minus 4 by 3, minus 4 by 3 written over here. Then we add these two quantities. If we add these quantities, we get 8 by 3, then multiply these two. The product is minus 16 by 9 written over here, minus 16 by 9. Then these two quantities are added. So this will turn out to be 47 by 9. Multiply these two quantities. Whatever the answer is, write it over here. That is minus 94 by 27. Then add these two quantities. The sum turns out to be 14 by 27. So this is reserved for remainder. This is the divisor. For quotient, we have to be careful, because over here the coefficient of x in this case is not 1, but it is 3. And now we know that how to go for the steps. I'll do it first now. So I'll be dividing each of these numbers with coefficient of x, which is 3. So divide 2 by 3, we get a new number, that is 2 by 3. And if I divide this, I get a new number, that is 8 by 9. If I divide this, say So 47 by 9 by 3, we get 47 by 27. So let's write down the division algorithm. Dividend is 2x cube plus 4x square plus 7x plus 4. Divisor is this 3x plus 2, and this is the quotient now. The highest power was 3, so this will be the coefficient of x square, starting from x square, 2 by 3 x square, then the term involving x, which is 8 by 9 x, then the constant term, which is 47 by 27, plus remainder in this case is 14 by 27. So very easy and very quick method to divide a polynomial with linear polynomials of the type ax plus b. This is the division by linear polynomials like this. We can do this division by another method without even in a single step. We just will be doing that in the next video, and this video is dedicated for this particular way of division. In the next video we will be looking at how to divide a polynomial with a linear polynomials like this in a single step. We'll be writing this process straight way. From here to here, we'll write this straight way. From here to here, we'll go straight away. We'll not be writing these steps, and we'll be writing this step straight away. Thank you very much. That's all from my side as far as this video is concerned.